Hey everybody, how's it going? It is the first Wednesday of October. October. Didn't we just start this year about a week and a half ago? I mean, how is it already the first week of October? So the greatest thing about this month is, and I've already seen a preview of the pictures, that this is the greatest month because of the candy. So I love that. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm just kind of sitting here right now with milk chocolate sea salt caramels and all kinds of things all over my desk. So, I love the candy part of this month, but it's supposed to be for the kids, but guess what? I don't have any kids at home. So I just get to scare them off the porch and eat. I mean, hand out the candy is what I meant, of course. I would never scare off the kids. Never do that. So my name is Zach Clayton. I am the founder and president of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels. I am so excited because we are bringing back a guest that we had a couple weeks ago. She joined our program as a mission partner with her wonderful program, the Aziza project. And a lot of the things that she talks about are things that I actually have experience with. I've been in relationships before with some women who have suffered from some of these problems. And so I was able to take and follow what she was saying and truly sympathize with everything that she's done and all the great hard work she's done. She is doing now, and we are thrilled to have the Aziza Project as a mission partner, taking and helping them raise money simply by shopping with one of our wonderful partners, one of our wonderful giving partners. All you have to do is little QR code here. When you go there and you scan that QR code, it takes you to a link. You shop with any of those partners, any of them. And within that document that you see that this QR code takes you to, you attach the receipt from any of those partners, you attach it right there. And then Stephanie and the Aziza project, they get a portion of the money. So, but that wasn't enough. We wanted to make sure that everybody knew a little bit more about what she's doing, help her raise this a little bit quicker. And so I said, well, what's better than one Stephanie? Let's get two together. And so guess what? I reached out to my hero, my partner. There we go. Now that we can hear me a little bit better. Oh, lucky you. And we brought in the goddess of the grape, Stephanie Samos. How you doing, sweetie?
I'm really excited. I get to share the show with another Stephanie tonight. This is great.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, what's better than one? Two. Let's have, let's play two, as they say in baseball. So
it's gonna be a fun month.
Yeah. So you are taking some time right now because your life has become extremely hectic, and you have got so much going on. How's the move going?
Well, it's going. The plans are going. Actually, my husband and my daughter are going to go down early next month to go work on some things on the homestead, get some things prepared, and hopefully in the next couple of months we'll be shifting some things down there and moving. Um, we're excited to get that chapter started, and get the projects that we started here continued there. You're very familiar with all the things that we kind of are into, and we want to move that veteran housing down there. I think there's a great opportunity for that all over the United States, but want to bring that mission with us, as well as some other projects.
Yeah, that's a mission that they're on the East Coast. Of course, there are a lot of veterans out there. You've got a lot of the naval yards, and you've got a lot of the Army.
We have the Army
There's-
depot right here, right by
yeah,
us in Pennsylvania now, and there's an area down where we'll be that I think will be really beneficial for veterans who are maybe retired, maybe disabled, to have close proximity to some VA hospitals, walking to grocery and things like that, but being a little place with a roof over their head. Really, housing's really needed. We've
and,
learned that, Zach. You know this.
yeah, and not only that, but you're also going to natural foods and farming and just job skills and other things that maybe weren't intentional, but are going to come along with it. I think the agriculture part, which is something that's important to you anyway, the agriculture, the animals, that's a big part of your life anyway.
It is, and that kind of actually, in a nice way, kind of segues into what we're going to talk about tonight. But I've had troubles myself, and Steph and I connected prior to this, and so I can really relate to all the things that she's going to share with the Aziza Project tonight. And we have our own struggles with our kiddos from a medical standpoint. So the homestead in general, I think our biggest why with that is to support our kids in a medical way, right? With a healthy lifestyle, healthy diet, all of that, but then be able to share that with others, because I know where we were at a few years ago, scrambling, trying to find those resources, figure out the best way to go about things. So to be able to do that for somebody else, share with the community, some of these organizations that we work with, Zach, that do breakfasts and things for veterans, I'd love to be able to say, oh my gosh, I have plenty of eggs. Let me send you some eggs for the breakfast. Things as simple as that, I think, can make a big difference.
I think that the one thing that we've learned together, and this is one thing that I'm not sure if we get this clear enough a lot of times, but it's one of the things that I really want to make sure that we get together. You and I, one of us, every time we ask the question, and Stephanie, by the way, this is a question that you'll be asked. So, just so you understand, one of the questions that we ask people all the time is, other than money, what can people do?
Right.
And that question is so important because, at times financially is just not an option. That's one of the reasons why the program that you and I are putting together, one of the reasons why Community Pay It Forward is so important, is because we're not asking you to take and pull out your wallet a second time. We're asking you to shop with us. And when you shop with us, we're going to use the money that you've already spent, and we're going to use that as a donation.
I love that.
So, well, Stephanie, why don't you go on ahead and introduce yourself, and then we're going to bring on our guest.
Sure. So if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. Zach and I have been doing this show for quite some time now. We really do enjoy bringing on smaller nonprofit organizations and giving them the platform to share what they're about and to reach, a broader audience, because they really need that. They need that reach. So we love doing this show. Really excited to have the Aziza Project tonight. I am with ONEHOPE Wine. So what I do is I specialize in fundraising, gifting, private wine events, and wine delivery. So we will be supporting the Aziza Project through ONEHOPE Wine and in other ways tonight. And we're going to learn more about that real quick with Steph really soon.
Yeah. And there, I just love you. You guys are almost up to 10. mil?
Almost. Okay. Yeah. So, background, if you're not sure what One Hope is, we are a cause centered winery out of Napa Valley. Every single bottle of wine that we sell gives back to make an impact. So, to date, over $9.7 million have been donated to over 42,000 different nonprofit organizations. And it's just a great feeling when you pour a glass of wine, that bottle has donated to a nonprofit organization that's important to you. Yes, important to you. You're choosing where that donation is going. But essentially, there's a double donation built into each bottle because that 10% is going to your organization of choice, but you're also supporting the One Hope Foundation, where our main pillars of giving are for clean water, ending hunger, health, and education initiatives. So, all around, really great things. Some of the most incredible winemakers in the industry, too. So it is award-winning Napa Valley wine. We've got Robert Mondavi Jr., Tony Coltrane, Mari Wells Coyle, some of the biggest names in the industry. So the wine is great, but we focus on the give back.
The wine is great, but the giving is even better. So, well, thank you very much. The numbers still. I can remember when we started, we were almost at 8 million, and
Yeah,
now, and now close to 10, so close to 10.
it's
So,
awesome.
and with your support over the next month, who knows? Maybe we could reach 10 while we're supporting the Aziza project. So,
We will
but
ring that bell on that community Pay It Forward One Hope fundraising page. So make sure you're on that page with us, because as soon as that 10 million mark is hit, there will be an announcement there.
And imagine that if you were the one who purchased that 10 millionth donation. I mean, I think that would be awesome. I think that would be great. So, but now it is time. We are proud to bring you this month's guest. Once again, I talked to Stephanie a couple weeks ago. I introduced her. She joined the program. Look, I love this lady because she is so passionate. She has went through so much, and she is the epitome of what a nonprofit can do for a person mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. Because everything she does, she feels. And having a guest like this to me is so fantastic because she doesn't hide emotion. And I love it because she knows what people go through. And I'm proud to bring you a really good friend of mine, a really good friend of Stephanie's, Stephanie Berman. How you doing, sweetie?
Man, you're already making me cry, Zach.
Well, you know, that's well, that's okay. I mean, like I said, it you do you wear your emotions on your sleeve, and you don't care that, look, this is painful. This is this is painful for women, and it's confusing for men. And I need to get this across to you guys out there, okay? You guys might be sitting there going, "Why the hell do I want to watch this?" From a guy who's dealt with this personally, to women, I've dealt with this. It's nice to know, to have even a little bit of the answer, because for over 20 years of my life, there was no answer. There were just a lot of questions. So when I met Stephanie, I finally got answers. I finally got some answers. And so, guys, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it abruptly. Sit down, shut up, and listen, because you know what? These are answers that not only the women have been looking for, but you know what? A lot of times you've been looking for. So, Stephanie, tell us a little bit about the Aziza Project.
Okay, so the Aziza Project offers hope to women who are suffering from complex gynecological problems by providing funding for them to see the doctors who have the knowledge and training to figure out what's going on.
What kind of problems are we talking about?
So I like to kind of break it down into 4 main areas to make it really easy. Dermatological issues, nerve issues, muscle issues, and hormonal issues. And then there's diagnoses under all of those umbrellas.
See, the muscle issues are really one of them that that Linda dealt with. She had to deal with cramps that were so severe she couldn't stand up. And as you and I had talked before, and as we will talk about quite a bit on this next hour, that's one of the things that a lot of the doctors out there don't have the training, aren't given the time to properly diagnose, and so women are not given a correct diagnosis, which is causing even more of a problem, not just physically but mentally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And the Aziza project isn't, like you just alluded to, like menstrual cramps. The Aziza project isn't focusing quite that high in the reproductive tract just yet. We'll get there. My dream is to add a surgeon who has the expertise to go in and excise endometriosis, perform hysterectomies, stuff like that. We're not there yet. We're starting more with the external issues, and then muscles and stuff like that. Muscles and nerves are kind of our specialty right now, and hormonal issues. So yeah, that's kind of where we're starting. I was gonna say something else, and now I completely forgot my thought. My train of thought is gone.
Well, while you're thinking about it, I did want to bring up, and I was going through and I was looking at it yesterday. You just changed your website. Your website now includes, and I take it we can. I guess I should have asked this earlier. Your website does include the doctor's name that we were very, very. I don't want to say we were kind of trying to tap dance around, but we were tap dancing around using Doctor his name.
Yeah,
So
we can
why
talk.
don't you go? Yeah, why don't you go on ahead and introduce the doctor that you're working with, please?
Okay, so and I'll kind of weave in my own story because that's like how I found him is kind of nuts. I'd been suffering with complex gynecological pain for 12 years, and I one day I was on Instagram looking for answers about this condition that I had been misdiagnosed with, and I stumbled across this doctor in Tulsa, Oklahoma, of all places. And I was looking on his Instagram, and it was very obvious that he knows a ton about female pelvic anatomy. And so I reached out to him. I said, "This is my story. Do you think you can help me?" And short answer was like, "Oh my goodness, yes, you need to come to Tulsa." So my husband and I flew out to Tulsa in January, and met with Dr. Corey Babb. He runs a private practice there called Haven Center, and he was able to diagnose me correctly within 30 minutes of a virtual conversation last October. He had a really good idea what was going on. And then, within an hour of actually meeting me in person, he's like, "Yeah, this is definitely what's going on. We're going to do a nerve block and some Botox, and you should be feeling a lot better." Sure enough, it worked. He said that nerve block would last for about 3 days. I got 5. It was amazing. And yeah, I'm actually in Tulsa next week to see him again.
You know, that's I just had a nerve block in my back a week ago today. Come to think of it. So yeah, and Botox is one of the things that I'm very well familiar with on headaches. Can you explain why these work? Do you and they're both a type of steroid, and they both why do they work on people in this way?
Yeah. So nothing I'm about to say is medical advice. Don't change your medical treatment without talking to your doctor first. That's all I'm going to say about that. But as far as what I had done in January, it was, Botox into my pelvic floor because it helps the muscles relax if they're super tight by basically blocking the nerve signals. And then the nerve block I had in January was a diagnostic block to confirm whether or not this nerve was actually being an issue. So it only contained, as I understand it, only contained an anesthetic. The next one we're doing next week will contain a steroid, and that will hopefully help to tamp down some of the inflammation around the nerve that's irritating the nerve.
Yeah, the first one they always do. They tell you it's only, this is very, very, very temporary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they gave you the same kind of thing, but they give you a little bit of a sheet. It's called a pain sheet, to where you take and you mark down, and after the procedure, 1 hour after, what's your pain level, 2 hours, 12 hours, 2-3 days. And that way you can make sure that they've got the right area. And so,
yeah, it was very obvious to me that my nerve block had worked, because I remember specifically, this is going to make me cry again. When I was thinking about the trip from here to get to Tulsa, it's 2 flights and a layover in the Denver airport. And I was terrified. I was like, what if our gates are like way far apart in the airport? How am I going to do that? Like, how am I going to walk that far if I'm in pain? And thankfully our gates weren't that far apart on the way there, but I specifically remember out walking my husband on the way home. He pretty much had to run to keep up with me. So, and the other thing, this is the biggest thing I remember from those 5 days where I had that great nerve block, was I don't remember, prior to that nerve block, I don't remember the last time that I was able to stand in the kitchen for an hour and make dinner for my husband. But 5 days after that nerve block, like the night before the nerve block wore off, I stood in the kitchen for an hour and chopped vegetables. And I don't remember the last time I was able to do that. And that was part of the reason why I knew that we needed to go back this fall, because I was losing my ability to, function in the kitchen again. But this time I know I'm doing a little better than I was in January, because this time I'm not afraid of that layover in Denver. I know I can do it now. I did it last time. I can do it again. I'm feeling better. I'm walking a little more than I was leading up to last appointment. So overall, I'm definitely in at least a slightly better place. But I'm still curious to see what Dr. Babb is going to have to say about his internal exam and what he notices compared to his notes from January.
Well, I do know this, living in Colorado, Denver's not one of the places that the cool people go and hang out at. Okay. Denver airport is kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. So,
the good news is we don't have to switch airlines. It was all on like the B gates, I think, if I remember correctly. We flew in on one B gate and left out of another B gate. So
no, that's good. I mean, getting through anything else, and right now, DIA is kind of one of those places that's like everywhere else in Denver. We're in this perpetual state of construction. There's construction everywhere and nothing ever gets done.
yeah.
I moved here to Colorado in 1990. They were working on I-25. It's still not done. Okay, it's still not done. It's finally got up to the Greeley Loveland exit, but I mean, it's like, good God, I'm in the wrong business trying to make money. I One of the stories I would like to kind of share with you, which is very similar to what you were talking about, and one of the things that I would like to take in and put an emphasis on is that you talk about making dinner. I woke up after they did the initial nerve block for my neck. I woke up for the first time in 9 years without a headache.
Mm-hmm.
when something like that happens, I don't think people understand how emotional, how triggering that can be to you, because it's something that unfortunately it's become part of life.
Yeah.
You know, waking up every damn day with a headache, that's the way life is, you know?
I actually wrote on my Instagram, I've got another non-Aziza Instagram that I've been taking notes on. Dr. Bab actually follows that Instagram account. So when I was there in January, he was like talking about stuff that I'd written on it. Like, what doctor does that? Dr. Bab does. So I've been trying to chronicle some symptoms and stuff for him. And I realized, because he put me on another medication recently, and I take it at night before I go to bed. And I didn't realize until just a couple of days ago just how exhausted and how little sleep I've been getting for the last several years, until I've been taking this medication at night and realizing, oh my goodness, I'm actually sleeping really well. And like, I wake up feeling rested in the morning, and I feel like I have enough energy to, take a shower. And I'm like, wow, is this what normal people, like, is this how well normal people sleep? This is crazy.
It
It's
is.
amazing. But the crazy thing was, Zach, I remember that feeling from after my nerve block and Botox in January. I remember coming home and being able to sleep really well, for several weeks after that too. So I'm like, oh, this is what I have to look forward to again.
Yeah.
Hopefully it lasts a little longer this time.
So you two have had conversations since we did the introduction. Um, Stephanie Samos, what are some of the things that you and Stephanie have been able to talk about? Because I know that one of the things that we've been able to do is we've been trying to take and marry the health of your children with a lot of these other programs, kind of put the two missions together in a way to where we can kind of understand things and maybe piece things together to where we can try to help more people.
Yeah, no, and I love that so much. I think what Stephanie's doing with sharing this, as painful as it is all around, it's so necessary, because I think as women, we're just like, we're okay, and we're expected to just keep going, right? And I think a lot of times people don't talk about things, so they don't realize that there's somebody out there that might be feeling the same thing, might have the same symptoms, might be in a place that Stephanie was, where she couldn't find a doctor right away to help her out. Maybe, she was searching for a long time, which is kind of similar to the medical stuff with my kids. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have some personal experience with other things that are a little bit different than this, with miscarriages and things like that. And I do try to share as much as I can with my network, with the medical stuff with my children and, my personal experiences, because I feel like there's always somebody out there that is thinking that they're on their own with something. Right. And maybe they're going to listen to Stephanie and say, oh my gosh, there's a doctor that knows this. And wait, that's weird, because I know somebody that's been in this kind of pain, and maybe I can direct them to this doctor that she's working with. And I think that that's so important. I know from our medical standpoint with my kids, I just try to direct people to resources. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to give medical advice, but hey, the website has lots of resources, and here it is. And I think that you're doing that in a different way with your project, Steph. And I love that so much, because I think it's raising awareness for things that I think a lot of men, like you said, Zach, maybe don't really know, or don't know how to guide, their significant other in supporting them in any way. So anyway, thank you, Steph, for being brave and really sharing about this. You mentioned sleep. I know you mentioned standing and cooking dinner when we spoke, and that really hit home for me. Like, man, you take the things for granted that you just do on a regular basis, right? And you do if you're not in pain, but living in pain like that and seeing that relief for you, I know, is such a huge deal. And I know that that's what you want to do through the Aziza Project, is help give that relief to other people. You are brave to go through that Denver airport. I was there last September, and man, I didn't have pain walking, but I was scared to get through that airport. That was the scariest airport I've ever been to, Zach. So
it's another animal. I'm not going to lie. It's another animal. You talk to anybody, they're going to tell you, oh God. My son goes through airports every time he comes through Japan. He goes to LA, into LAX, and my son will sit there and go, it has nothing on as messed up as DIA is. And being once again a guy in Colorado, I'm sitting there going, that's just not right. How can things be that screwed up? But yeah, so Stephanie, we've talked a little about a little about this. One of the things that I want to bring up to guys again, and this, you can talk about the woman's side of it, is that we had a thing to where we would go into a doctor because there were pains, and you have found Dr. Babb. You've also found a couple other doctors who have the same training.
Mm-hmm.
You've only found a couple right now. You haven't had a lot of time to do a lot more. But getting women into these doctors is one of the things that Aziza is going to be doing, because if you take your women, if you take yourself to a doctor who does not understand it's an unfortunate thing, but they're going to put you on that conveyor belt. Mm-hmm. You come in, you go out. You come in, you go out. There's not any understanding on their part what's going on, because they've not trained in this.
Yeah.
First off, what are some of the things that women should, if they think their doctor's missing something, what's the first thing somebody should ask their doctor when they go in? Like, if a lady's going into a doctor, what would be the first question that you would say, look, I know I've got a problem, and you're, of course you don't want to sit there and go, you schmuck, you're missing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe you do want to do that. I know I've wanted to do that quite a bit, but you shouldn't do that. Mm-mm. What can you look at a doctor and say, hey, look, can we investigate this? What would that be?
It would depend on the symptomology that the woman is presenting with, in a way, but I would encourage her to, if she's having gynecological symptoms, specifically like vulvovaginal symptoms, I would say you may want to look at some of these professional organizations from doctors, like the International Society for the Study of Women's Sexual Health. They have a provider directory that lay people can access. So you may be able to find somebody in your local area who is an ISWISH provider that would know maybe a little bit more about sexual medicine than your run-of-the-mill baby delivery and OBGYN. Not slamming OBGYNs in general. They're great. They, most of them are really good at what they do, and that's great. We need doctors who are great at the basics, and we need doctors who are great at the specialties. And so if your basic OBGYN isn't getting you answers, keep looking, and don't be afraid to do your own research online to find doctors. And if you get really stuck, email me. My email's down there somewhere. Text me, jump on our website, contact Dr. Babb. Just keep advocating for yourself. And yes, that's hard. Get your, if you have a partner that can advocate for you, maybe a friend can make some phone calls or do some internet research if you really don't have enough energy to do that for yourself. If you're, the biggest thing to find out is if your doctor that you were working with, whether that's your family doctor or your OBGYN, is willing to be a part of a team, because Dr. Babb, and I'm going to throw this out here, he is willing to work with other local providers so that not everybody has to go to Tulsa to be able to get his expertise. He is more than happy to do a virtual consultation with somebody. He can't diagnose, treat, or prescribe during that virtual consultation, but what he can do is write up a list of recommendations for you to take to your local provider and say, hey, you know, I talked to this vulvovaginal specialist in Tulsa, Oklahoma. These are the recommendations. Are you willing to have a phone call with him to talk them over and see the two of you can work out together for me? So that's a great resource. But yeah, and that's probably what would be my biggest piece of advice based on my own experience trying to find a provider that knew what they were doing. You know, let's just, for anybody who hears this, let's just short circuit the process and go straight to the, you know, the gold star.
Well, and that's I like the advice of getting Dr. Babb involved, because then you're just not going into a doctor and, you know, hey, I went on WebMD or whatever it is, and I typed up, you know, this pain and this is what it shows. I'm pretty sure that that's kind of like, you know, when you go to a mechanic and said, and say, you know, my car's making this sound tick, 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 tick. What is that? You know, and they're going to be like going, it's, I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
if you have another doctor who can understand a little bit more about what you're saying, this at least gives doctors a place to start.
Mhm.
And if there's science and if there's fact behind it, and it's not just speculation, they're not going to, I don't see him as thinking, wow, this is going to be a waste of my time. So I love the idea of having the science behind it. And once again, you can get all of Dr. Babb's information by going to the azizaproject.org. And there's a wonderful space in there that says doctors, and Dr. Babb is the first one.
He's the only one right now.
Right. Yeah. Well, there you go. You're still contacting the other ones, but you've got some more that you're hoping to work with.
Yeah, my idea is to start adding doctors by the end of 2024. We still need to get some written policies in place on how we talk to clinics, how we expect them to talk to us, things we expect them to do for us in exchange for being a Aziza-affiliated provider, and then like our requirements for Aziza-affiliated providers. One of the things that a lot of women who've struggled with gynecological pain have experienced is medical gaslighting. You know, doctors saying that it's all in their head, or, you know, one doctor looked at my husband and said, be gentle, and sent us right out the door. So my husband got gaslit by a provider while we were looking for help. And Dr. Babb has trauma-informed care training. And my husband and I could both tell the difference, even in that first 30-minute virtual consultation. You know, Dr. Babb took the time to actually listen to my husband and his observations of my pain and my symptoms. And no provider that we'd seen up to that point had done that. And then, you know, when we went and saw him in person, he was, you know, can I do this? Can I touch you? Can I move this? Can I do that? And didn't do anything without my permission. And so that's going to be a requirement for any doctor who wants to see Aziza patients is, you know, do you have trauma-informed care training? And if they say no, they don't get to work with our patients. Because it's very important to me that no other women go through what I went through trying to find answers. And so going back to what kind of we were talking about earlier, and, you know, talking about women and going in to see their doctors. And I just wanted to throw out there that these conditions can be really hard to diagnose because a lot of them start with very similar symptoms, like yeast infection. Stephanie, if I say yeast infection, what's the first thing that comes to your mind as far as symptoms?
Itchiness.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding. But a lot of these other symptoms also first manifest with itching. My first symptom of an irritated nerve in my pelvis was itching. And so when I went in to see, you know, my family doctor, and then he sent me to an OBGYN who sent me to the vulvar pain clinic at the state university here in Washington. it first started with itching and they all thought it was a yeast infection, but that swab just kept coming back negative and they didn't know what to do with that. So that's why it's so important to, hey, if you're especially manifesting with itching and your doctor's not figuring it out, keep digging, keep looking for an expert who knows what they're talking about. And if you're listening to this, then you already know about Dr. Bad. Just go straight to Tulsa.
Yeah. Again, and just don't stop looking. You know your body better than anyone.
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel very comfortable saying this. If you know there's a problem, even if they're saying, we can't find a problem, there's still a problem. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know your body.
Yeah.
You know that there's a problem. So, and to the families, be supportive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
These are issues. These are issues that it's not just hard on one person. This is something that's hard on the entire family, because if one person's not being, and Stephanie, we talk about this when it comes to footprints. Okay. One person in a family does not suffer from mental illness. Everyone in that family suffers from mental illness. One person in a family does not suffer from an injury or something like that. Everyone in that family suffers at least a little bit from this injury, because everyone's got to take and pick up the slack. And we need to make sure that we're building a support system and we're helping people through this. I mean, am I wrong here, or
no?
No. And I feel like my experience is similar to what Stephanie's describing. And I kind of shared with her my earlier experience, right, with OBGYN offices, where I kind of described it as like a meat factory. You just go through the line. And I wasn't someone who could just go through that line. I needed special things kind of in between. I didn't make it through that line. So I needed different care also. So I totally get where she's coming from. And I love that she's being really selective and protective of who she's partnering with too, to ensure that, the people that they're supporting that want some relief are going to get the best care. And it's so important. I would drive far to get really good care. And I have, so I can totally relate. And I love everything that you're about.
finding a doctor that takes that and I don't want to, I don't want to put this on every doctor. Okay. I really don't. I don't want to put this on most doctors, but finding a doctor that's actually going to take the time and look through things properly is hard to come by nowadays. Look, doctors nowadays, unfortunately, are told, and I have, I'm not gonna give the name of my doctor because I don't want to get her in trouble. But she takes and she spends a little bit of extra time with me, at risk of getting in trouble from the hospital, because she understands that, look, this guy's been dealing with this for a long time, and I want to make sure he understands what's going on. And so she tries to explain some stuff to me, because she also knows that, 9 years of straight headaches, you tend to kind of have a little bit of emotional issues with this, and so understand what your doctor's saying. But if you got that problem, make sure that make sure that you are supporting somebody who's got this problem. Let's just let's just make sure that we're taking care of each other and taking care of people who need the help. Stephanie, the goddess of the grapes, Stephanie, why don't you explain what we're looking at right now?
Absolutely. So if you're not on our community Pay It Forward One Hope fundraiser page, it's a group on Facebook. definitely jump on there and join the party. But what you see on the screen is the QR code. If you take out your phone and you open up your camera, hold it right up to that QR code, it will take you directly to the fundraising link for the Aziza Project for this month. But not just this month. If you want to support the Aziza Project going forward too, you can absolutely do that. We have this open for this month, but you can always select the Aziza Project and either refill your wine rack or send a gift and be able to support them in the process. If you'd like to type in the link into your browser, it's right there on the bottom, the one that says onehopewine.com/event/ and those 6 digits, just type that right in. That will also take you right to the page where every single purchase is going to support the Aziza Project this month.
And our page is called the Community Pay It Forward One Hope Wine Fundraiser. So
you can also find it through my link tree really easily. So if you don't want to be searching on Facebook, just go to my link tree. It's right underneath my name on the screen, and you can easily join that group on Facebook right there.
Yep. So it's one of the great things. Stephanie, what are some of the things that the Aziza Project is looking forward? What are some of the things that you are building towards doing for women? Let's look 5 years from now. What is the Aziza Project doing?
So 5 years from now, I would love to have a few more providers so that we're not just inundating Dr. Bab with patients.
He's young, he can handle it.
I know he can. But I would love to have more providers, East Coast, West Coast. He's got the middle covered, and also be able to help with other conditions that are gynecological in nature, like the endometriosis we were talking about earlier. That's not just a pregnancy issue. That's a quality of life issue for a lot of women. So I do want to get an endometriosis excision specialist or 2 in there. I want to have our scholarship fund up and running. I'm really excited about that. I was actually talking to an African-American gal earlier this week, and I was telling her that I had just heard or read some article or something that was suggesting that patients do better when they see a doctor that looks like them. And I have not come across an African-American vulvovaginal specialist. So I would love to be able to offer scholarships to especially medical students of color who want to go into these vulvovaginal specialties so that people of color have equal access to providers who look like them, who know how to solve these problems. So that's just another wing of the Aziza Project, other than the patient side, but also getting the scholarship side for medical students up and running, because you have to know my actual job is I'm a money coach. I help people with their budgets all day long. I hate seeing people who are in student debt and saddled with that for so long. And so if we can help these medical students take on less student debt over time by offering them a scholarship so that they can go into these fields where women need so much help, that would be so much worth it. That would be so worth it for me. And also just keep helping women, help more patients, get the word out, stuff like that. So
get to these doctors. That's one of the things that you guys are also trying to do, because not everyone can take and look. Let's be honest here. People who are a couple states away, it's going to be very difficult for them to take and throw the family in a car and go to Oklahoma to see Dr. Bab right now. There's some of them who potentially couldn't ever get that done without your help.
Yeah, I have a virtual coffee scheduled with a gal from the East Coast, I believe, next week, right before we go to Tulsa, and she's looking at getting help from the Aziza Project to get a virtual consultation with Dr. Bab, because she's not going to be able to travel. But if she were able to travel physically, then the Aziza Project would not only pay for her virtual consultation, but would also help with her travel costs to get out to Tulsa to see Dr. Babb, and then help with her costs to see Dr. Babb, and then help with any in-network expenses she may not be able to cover herself.
Okay, Stephanie, well, here it is. We warned you it was coming. We all know that money is the king. What are some of the other things that people can do to support the Aziza Project?
Other things people can do to support the Aziza Project: shop with Community Pay It Forward, and listen to women, and write down our website so that you have it. Send people our way. Tell your friends. If you're sitting around drinking wine with your girlfriends one night and gynecological issues come up, tell them about the Aziza Project, because 4 out of every 10 women are going to suffer with a complex gynecological problem of some sort at some point in their lifetime. That's a lot of women. And so, but we're not only is society not talking about these issues, women in general are not talking about these issues together. So when you do finally pop up and say, hey, I'm having this problem, invariably somebody else immediately says, oh yeah, I dealt with that 5 years ago and never found an answer, but it just kind of went away, or whatever. It's a little bit, Steph was talking about earlier with her losses, nobody talks about miscarriages. And until you finally get into a very small, tight-knit group and you kind of start opening up, and then you discover that 3 of your friends have had miscarriages that you had no idea about. And we need to be better supporting each other. And the best way to do that is to listen and to start sharing our experiences. So that's why, I don't really care who I tell my story to anymore, men, women, whatever. I just want people to know that they're not alone and there's hope out there.
You have also been on, oh geez, I cannot remember, the Invisible
Condition with Jeff Pierce.
Yeah, the Invisible Condition with Jeff. Yeah, you were just recently on his podcast, or on his show, that you can find on E360. I'm going to ask for people to go on to e360.com and you can find that episode. But you're going to be going back on there because and talking about a couple other things. So
Yeah.
I would definitely. Jeff is another one of our brand new partners, and we're thrilled to have him on there. You actually sent us an introduction, and we went from 0 to 600 immediately with that partnership, because Jeff is also talking about brain injuries, and of course that's something that I deal with. But
yep.
So all right, well, Stephanie, I want to thank you so very much for joining us. And please stick around for the next couple minutes. We're going to let the goddess of the grape do her thing, and Stephanie, before you even get started, I'm going to show this picture because this picture excites me. Candy.
I love it. No, you can keep that one up. And if you're tuning in, pour a glass of your favorite anything and join us for this next couple of minutes, because it's officially October, you guys. Halloween, or should I say Halloween, is just around the corner, meaning it's the perfect time to find some tasting tricks and order some tasty treats so you can host your own boozy Halloween tasting event. Fun, right? Yes, you can give back to the Aziza Project at the same time with these gatherings. So with these tips, throwing a spooktacular party that'll leave your guests howling for more has never been easier. I'm going to share some things with you in just a second. So whether you're aiming for a ghoulishly grown-up gathering or a family-friendly fiesta, gosh, these are tongue twisters for me right now. And I promise there's only iced tea in this. I am not drinking.
I'm actually quite impressed the way that you're going about this. Yeah.
These Halloween candy pairing tips will ensure your event is a graveyard smash. All right. And also just throwing in here that this is also my birthday month, not birthday, but birthday month. So I'm using that as an excuse to sample all of the good candy and all the good wine. So here we go. I've got a couple
I'm using I'm a fat guy. I'm using I'm a fat guy. That's the reason why I'm sampling it all.
I love it. I love it. So that's just a little taste with that photo there, but we'll dive into a couple of fun pairings. And I want to hear from you both, because Steph's hanging out with us for this segment. I want to hear from you both what your favorites are out of these pairings. So this is just for fun. There's plenty more, and let's face it, if there's something you don't like in here, you can switch it up. And if it tastes good, it's a great pairing. But here are some suggestions for you. So first up is our sparkling rosé, or you can do just a still rosé, right? With Starburst. And keep in mind, our labels have been updated since these images. So just FYI, if you're looking on the website for certain things, the labels are going to look a little different than these fun images you're going to see. But sparkling rosé or just a still rosé. I tend to like rosé in the warmer months, but I find myself still leaning towards rosé now, even though here we're in the mountains in Pennsylvania. The mornings are cooler here already. But it's still rosé season for me. So some rosé and Starburst for the first one. Do you guys like Starburst? I used to just pick out the pink ones.
I will admit I am a Starburst fan. Yeah, they don't last very long around here. So yeah, I do like Starburst.
I'll trade Zach the Starburst for his chocolate.
Okay. No, I like it. I already have my eye on what my favorite pairing is out of these, and I'll share it with you guys when we get there. So, second up would be our red blend with M&Ms. And if you've watched this before, you probably heard me say I was not a red wine drinker when I first started with ONEHOPE a few years ago. And our Vintner Collection red blend has shifted me into the red zone. So now I drink all of it. And our red blend is mostly Cabernet, Merlot, and Red Zinfandel in the blend. It's our highest rated wine at 96 points. It's delicious. Great with chocolate, but it's also great with like one of my favorite meals, which are bacon burgers. I love cheeseburgers with bacon on them. So that's our red blend paired with some M&Ms. I like M&Ms. I don't know. I could do M&Ms. I feel like anytime. They're easy. Yeah. Okay.
I had a bacon cheeseburger for lunch, so there's that.
The red blend, bacon anything, but bacon burgers are like one of my favorite things. See, easy date. We're easy dates, Zach. See this? We need to go out for burgers. Okay, so next up would be our Vintner Collection Pinot Noir. This is one of my favorite wines because you can drink it chilled or room temp. And I didn't know that was even a thing with drinking red wine chilled until our winemaker suggested, with Pinot Noir, you can actually drink it on the colder side. And I find that it brings out the berries more when it's cold. For me, anyway. Everybody's palate is different, but they are pairing this with Twix, and I think this is my favorite pairing out of the lineup tonight because I love Twix.
I know when it comes to the this wine, I prefer it as you said. I prefer it chilled. I know that I've tried it both ways, and I remember the first time that I had a bottle of this, I called you and I'm like, how am I supposed to drink this? And you told me try either way, but I suggest chilled. And so I chilled it, and I definitely prefer it chilled.
I feel like Pinot Noir is one of those wines you can drink at any time of the year, chilled in the warmer months, room temp. It's also great with turkey, for Thanksgiving and things like that. So Pinot Noir is a lighter bodied red. This one, our Vintner Collection is a lighter bodied, and I love it. I think it's delicious, but I especially will be picking out the Twix bars out of my kids' candies. this month. All right. So next up would be our Pinot Grigio with gummy bears. I'm not a huge gummy bear fan personally. That's another thing that I would end up picking out the red ones probably. With the bunch. What about you guys?
I'll eat the gummy bears.
Yeah. Oh, Zach probably has gummy bears there, and he's getting them.
Probably
to show
going to
them.
get them.
I think that's where this is going right now.
Come on, Zach, throw us some gummy bears.
Okay, I cannot say I'm not a gummy bear fan.
Wow, that's impressive. I love it.
That's a very intense gummy bear.
Yeah. Okay. The story behind this is that Adrian and I went to Kansas on a ghost hunt, and we went into a sports store. I wanted to find a Kansas City Royals hat, and we went into this sports store, and I partake in THC gummies on weekends for my headaches, and of course, one of the things I have to do is I have a bag of sour gummies sitting next to the bed, because the last thing in the world you want to do is go, wow, that gummy was really good. I think I'm going to eat 4 more. So instead, you have those other gummies that'll take and do that. And I saw this gummy and this gummy bear there, and I was like going, I think I'm going to make him one of my very special gummies. And Adrian tells me, oh, no. So I would like to introduce you guys to No. So,
I love it. Oh, such a great story too. That's impressive. I don't think I've ever had a giant gummy like that. That's great.
it weighs like 5 pounds. It is so fantastic. And of course I wouldn't eat him now. He's like 2 years old, but I'm not going to eat him now. But boy, he's still enticing.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, if you have Pinot Grigio laying around there, it's a good pairing for that. And our Vintner Pinot Grigio is our driest white wine. It's nice and crisp, refreshing. You definitely want to have that one chilled. So that is that pairing. That was fun. Next up would be our Chardonnay, our Vintner Collection Chardonnay and Almond Joy. I enjoy Almond Joy. I can do with or without the almond part. What about you guys?
Sometimes I feel like a nut. Yeah, I am an Almond Joy guy.
That's funny.
I think we've hit on a theme here. We haven't hit a candy that I've like gone, nah, yet.
I love it. I love it. Well, this is your month, Zach. It's all about the candy this month.
It is.
I always encourage people, if they are not typically Chardonnay drinkers, to give this one a try. And here's why. Our Chardonnay is barreled in stainless steel and then finished in oak. So it's a little bit more fruit forward than most. So you might find that it's not like that heavier, oaky, buttery Chardonnay, right? It's a bit lighter, and I find that it's appealing, and it's one of those that a lot of people do enjoy. So also our palate changes, our taste buds change every couple of weeks. So if there's something that you didn't like, always just give it a try again and see. You might find that the experience is a little bit different. So that is our Chardonnay with Almond Joy. Next up is our Vintner Collection Cabernet Sauvignon with Hershey Kisses. And who doesn't love Hershey Kisses? But also this Cabernet is delicious. It's one that pairs really well with steaks. If you didn't want to go with a red blend, this is also a great wine to go with a bacon burger like we were talking about before. Just a really great cab, and Cabernet and Napa are known pairings, right? So it is really a delicious wine. What about you guys? Hershey Kisses, yay or nay?
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's a funny story before we continue. Did you know that Hershey's chocolate has that unique taste because they use spoiled milk?
Really?
I'm not sure if I know that.
When Milton Hershey first was creating his chocolate and they used regular milk, it didn't have the right taste and he didn't like it. They brought in milk that was just turning. I mean, just turning. And it's given Hershey's its unique and very, very popular flavor.
That is really interesting. This is
Yeah.
the first I'm hearing of that. Huh. Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
you teach me about wine, I'll teach you about candy all day long.
Let's do it. That's great. I love it. Well, we've got one more. So last but certainly not least, we've got our Vintner Collection Sparkling Brut and Sour Patch Kids. These were fun growing up. Do you guys like the Sour Patch Kids?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So I love the Sparkling Brut, and here's why. I feel like it's not super sweet. It's not super dry. It sits kind of right there in the middle, and it pleases like both palates. If you really like sweet and really like dry, I feel like it sits right in the middle where a lot of people can drink and enjoy this wine. And it's one of those that, like, if you wanted a little sweeter, throw in a splash of your favorite juice, make it a mimosa, and boom, there you go. But I find that even beer drinkers tend to really like this bubbly, just from experience. So, Sparkling Brut, finishing off with that one. And I will say that several of these wines are featured in our Vintner bundle on the website, or you can mix and match the varietals you would like. As always, you can opt into the wine club for the best discounts, free shipping, and perks while continuing to support the Aziza Project year round. And you can do that simply by refilling your wine rack or sending a gift. I love sending these as gifts, especially if I'm not going to see someone over the holiday season. We ship across the US in 3 to 5 business days. So that's really nice and an easy way to support a great cause at the same time. So your Halloween bash can be whatever you dream of, from a scary evening of frights to a memorable evening of sipping delicious wines. And with these Halloween pairing tips, you're already well on your way to hosting a spectacular soiree that'll be the talk of the afterlife, or at least the morning after, that is guaranteed to make a huge impact. So any questions, as always, don't hesitate to reach out to me on our event page or via email through my link tree.
Stephanie, you also have a wonderful idea for, your neighborhood friends who are going to be bringing their little goblins to your house for trick-or-treating, and that's giving something for mom and dad. You guys have...
We have minis, you guys. They are the best. Like, that those parents are getting nothing walking around with their kids, right? And it's a really easy way to kind of show the adults that you see them, and everything that they're doing. But they're a really fun way to kind of just give a quick gift. And over the holiday season, honestly, I love to have stock in these, and they come in 12 packs. So, you can get 12 and you'll have them throughout the holiday season where, my drivers that deliver boxes, they get them. My mail lady, she gets them. So, it's a quick, easy, and it's a little something that's thoughtful that goes a long way over the holiday season. I love having them on hand just to be able to do those quick little gifts.
And it's so nice to be able to do something for somebody who, who does something for you somewhere in your life. So there was one more thing that I wanted to bring back, okay, with the Twix, okay?
Oh boy.
I've had a problem for a while with the Twix company, and I'm going to air my grievance with them.
Okay, I want to hear this. Yeah.
I've eaten hundreds of Twix bars, both left and right. And I cannot tell you which one I prefer, left or right. I have spent hours eating left and right Twix, and I cannot make up my mind. I think there's a game afoot here. but I am going to tell you something. I'm not going to stop until I come up with the answer. Left or right? I think they're trying to trick me into something here, but yeah, I have spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars trying to figure out which one I prefer, left or right, and I mean, messy chocolate. Wake up the next morning with the chocolate hangover. You know, uh, I mean, terrible times in the morning.
Well, this is one of my favorite wines, and I absolutely love Twix. So this is definitely going to be on the menu this month, for me at least.
Well, that just means that you can join me in the whole trying to figure out which one is left or right. I mean, I'm going to tell you this. I mean, if they were on a plate and there was no wrapper, I definitely couldn't tell you which one came from the left, which one came from the right. I don't know. I think that Twix might actually have it right. That, you know what, whether you're left or right, you're not always right. So, there you go. Way to throw in a political dig there, I guess. So, Stephanie, tell us, how do we get a hold of you at the Aziza Project?
Email is great, stephanie@azizaproject.org. Our website, like Zach said, we just launched our new website, azizaproject.org. There's my cell phone number. Reach out if you're suffering from a gynecological issue. Let me know how I can help, and I'll do what I can to try to connect to you the right resource. So yeah.
You're going to be joining us again here in 2 weeks, so we can talk a little bit more about this. We're going to bug Dr. Babb and try to get him to at least say a word or two to us. I mean, we're gonna do what we can, but we can't guarantee anything. But Stephanie, I want to thank you so much for joining us, and I want to reiterate, I love you. I appreciate your strength. I appreciate your passion, and I appreciate your work, because this is something that truly was in my life. It was a pain in my life, and it's because the people that I loved were not getting the answers that they needed.
Mhm.
And it led to huge problems.
Yeah.
And the work that you were doing is going to make a difference, and I want to thank you for that. And you are one of the reasons that Stephanie and I got together and we do what we do, is because of people like you who take the time to realize, damn it, there is an answer. We just need to fight for it.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why we created this show. This is the reason why Stephanie does what she does with ONEHOPE Wines. And this is the reason why Community Pay It Forward is around, because there are people like you who need the support, and we're glad to do it. So please travel safe. And is there anything that you would like to say to anybody before we sign you off?
I'm looking forward to being back in 2 weeks, hopefully feeling better than I am right now.
Well, I'm pretty sure that you're going to feel better, and probably have a little more information than what you even do. I mean, that's the one great thing about going to a doctor, is you always walk away with a little bit of extra information. So
that's the hope.
So, Goddess of the Grape, thank you so very much. We will see you on Monday.
Absolutely.
For Footprints Forward. And I want to thank you again for everything that you do, all the hard work of putting together these shows. You work so hard, and I sit here.
Teamwork, Zach. We're a good team.
Yeah, and I just sit here and make fun of Candy and drool, and I mean, my desk is just, I need to get a paper towel. There's drool all over my desk now. From there you go.
She'll pass the tissue through the screen. That's great.
But anyway, ladies, I love you both. We'll talk to you here in 2 weeks. Stephanie, I'll talk to you on Monday. But thank you guys very much. You guys both have a great evening. Okay.
You too.
You too.
All right. Goodbye. I seriously cannot express to you how important this is, guys, when it comes to this, okay? Because this was a main contention in a marriage of mine because we were not getting answers. And I will tell you right now, it was partially to blame for the one of the reasons why that marriage split up. It was a part. Okay. I mean, it obviously not the only reason, but the thing is that it's so nice to know that somebody is out there, somebody's working with this for ladies, somebody's out there and somebody's finally listening. Because I know how hard it is for you. I've seen multiple women deal with stuff that when they get told that, they get handed something and here, take 2 of these and we'll see what this does. And then it does nothing. And then all it does is cause problems. And I also know what it's like to be told over and over again that we cannot find something. And now next thing you know, you start believing that there's nothing wrong. There's something wrong. If you know something's wrong, there's something wrong. Just keep going. Just be true to yourself, be true to others, and just again, just watch out for each other. We're going to be putting an end to this show in about 10 minutes. I'm going to end a little bit early, but we're going to be playing this last Monday's episode of Footprints Forward. I do want to make sure that everybody understands that Footprints Forward has moved to 6 Eastern, 4 Mountain time on Mondays. Okay, we changed it to where we can start giving you a chance to watch it. We thought maybe the hour change would help you guys out, and we've been proven right. Viewership was up a little bit. We will be followed immediately at 6:30. 6:30 Eastern I'm sorry, it might be 7:30 Eastern. I'm drawing a blank here. On Things Network. An hour and a half after we're going to be on Things Network. Our friends there at Things Network, they've unfortunately got a show that's going on right at that time. It's obviously not unfortunate to the host of that show, but it's unfortunate that we can't go live. But you know what? We're still going to replay the show every Monday morning at our old slot, which is 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Mountain. One of the other things that we've got coming up, we need your support. We are number six year of the Chili Cook-Off and Poker for Pediatrics. It's one of my favorite things that we do every year is we get together with Key Largo Lounge here in Greeley, Colorado, and we raise money and we collect books. And what we do with our books, okay, this is a very special book to me because the Goddess of the Grape got with us. She purchased this book. This is one of our Baxter the Bat Dogs. And we wrote inside that this is from the Simoes family. Okay. And we wrote to our little hero, to our little warrior, a young person who is going to be battling in the hospital, who is in the hospital, which, you know what, we all know it's no fun. We're going to give them a book. We're going to give them a book that a nurse is going to take and write their names in that book. And they're going to think, they're going to know. They're not going to think, they're going to know that one of us cared enough to give them a book. This is not something that we do just for the holidays. We try to make sure that we, have books all year round for these kids. Look, our goal is to make sure that there's not a kid that goes into a hospital in one of the northern Colorado hospitals and walks away without nothing. And I don't care if they go in for a stitch. We want to make sure that we're giving these kids something because you know what? A hospital is a terrible place to be. For an adult, it sucks. As I said last week, and myself, my family, we've kind of piled up the wristbands all week long from hospitals. It's not a lot of fun. For a little kid, it's on top of not being a lot of fun. It's quite scary. So help us. If you would like to be involved, please contact me, and you can get a hold of me by using my For My Card. For My Card is a community pay it forward partner where you get a QR code. That QR code acts as a business card. I don't care how many times you try to press the phone number on your paper business card. You can press it all day long. It's not going to make a phone call. You press the phone number on my For My Card and it's going to dial your phone and you're going to be able to contact me. So get your For My Card and a portion of that purchase will go to the mission of your choice. We've teamed with For My Card. It's one of the best programs out there, easily programmable. Wonderful program, wonderful product, For My Card. Once again, this is mine. Just scan that. It'll take it. And as soon as you scan it, it'll ask you, do you want to add me to your contacts? You add me to your contacts and you have our website and everything that goes into our For My Card. You want to be part of the chili cook-off? Contact me using that. We also want to make sure that everybody is getting ready because, again, February 22nd, 2024, we will be doing the 22-hour podcast for veteran suicide. Please make sure you're part of this. We want to make sure that it's bigger and better than it's ever been before. Told you guys the last 2 years, and I'll say it again. I'll even say it early. You get us to $1 million worth of donations and I'll shut up for the day. Not for long, but for the day, I'll shut up. So you can get me off air in 1 hour if we raise $1 million. That $1 million will be split in between multiple veteran organizations. Organizations like our dear friends. I'm sorry, I lost him. Like our dear friends at the Veterans Ranch. That's it for us today. Coming up in about 2 minutes, right here on all of the pACT channels, you're going to see last week's episode of Footprints Forward. Please check it out as we discuss the divisiveness of today and how best to handle it. Please love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. Make sure that you always carry extra clothing, if you got extra food, throw it in the old hillbilly Tupperware, take it out to somebody who's struggling with food. It could save their life, okay? You may not be able to wear it. Somebody else can. Save them from the elements. It is starting to get cold, folks. Let's start making sure we're taking care of other people, because you know what? If the roles were reversed, we'd want them to take care of us. Let's take care of each other because, folks, we're all we got. My name is Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels. I will see you next week with Les Simpson as we bring you more about so much more.
Stepping out of her fear, bring me home. Out alone, you show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.